paper presentation at the International Conference on Data Mining and Application, DMA 2022. This work is about use of machine learning for active data, public data collection with recommendation for the method of collection via protest. Abstract. This work consists of applying supervised machine learning techniques to identify which types of the active debts are appropriate for the collection method called protest, one of the means of collection used by the Attorney General of the state of Pernambuco. For research, the following techniques were applied: neural network, logistic regression, and support vector machine. The neural network model obtained more satisfactory results among the other classification techniques, achieving better values in the following metrics: accuracy, F-measure, precision, and recall, with indexes about 97% in the evaluation with these metrics. The results show that the construction of the artificial intelligence and machine learning model to choose which debts can success in the collection process via protest could bring benefits to the government of Pernambuco, increasing its efficiency and the effectiveness. Introduction. According to Whiting, it is estimated that data from organizations double every 20 months, and this large amount of data is increasingly difficult to use decision-making. According to Whiting, this problem is even more pronounced in the public sector. In this context, the application of artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques has been shown to be increasingly appropriate to solve this problem. And as pointed out by Gaussius, there is more and more data to be used in software engineering associated with data science techniques to find the scripted and predictive information in several areas, from credit analysis to the billing process. Motivation. Pernambuco State Attorney General, being the state government agency responsible for collection active debts with the knowledge obtained with the BI tool, observed the manual increase in the amount of debt and number of debtors, which motivated in the use of business analytics to identify the causes and consequences and the search for its solutions, with a focus on improving the collection process, with the purpose of assisting in this process. In this article, we use artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques to identify which debts are most appropriate for the protest collection modality. Thus, the Active Debt Center will have a less costly tool for public coffers than electronic court. This was possible by training smart techniques based on data from the active debt registration. Supervised learning techniques used. Neural network allows you to perform complex computations through a trained function on the database. Thus, can be seen as approximations of nonlinear functions, for example, classification or regression. Logistic regression allows estimating the probabilities associated with the occurrence of the given event in front of the set of exploratory variables, being a statistical technique that aims to model, from a set of observations, the logistic relationship between responses and a series of numerical or categorical exploratory variables. Support vector machine allows you to generate a representation of examples as points in space, mapped so that the examples in each category are divided clearly and accurately. Thus, new input cases are then mapped appropriately as belong on the categories of the output spaces. Therefore, what a support vector machine does is find a separation line, a hyperplane between data from multiple classes. Classification analysis metrics. Accuracy is the ratio between true positives and true negatives for the sum the true positives, true negatives, false positives, and false negatives. Precision is the ratio between true positives for the sum the number of the true positives and the false positives. Recall is the ratio between true positives for the sum of the number of true positives and false negatives. F-measure is twice the ratio between multiplying precision by the recall to the precision and recall. The ROC curve is plotted as a diagram of the true positive values as function of the false positive ratio. The closer the value is to 1, the better the classified performance. Method. The first step of the method was the identification of the problem. Thus, at this stage, we sought to identify problems in the tax foreclosures that prevent the financial recovery of the state. Therefore, a classification of the debt center was carried out to be able to learn, based on the occurrences with debts we appropriate to the protest collection modality. Being more specific, several pieces of the training of techniques already named was carried out to identifying the activity debt registration with debts are most appropriate. The idea here was the characteristic that pointed to a greater assertiveness in the automated setting of loss to protest will be decreased in the number of returns because they did not fit the rules in this modality. The second step was data mining, because to apply artificial intelligence and machine learning, it is necessary to first the performance data mining. Across industry, because industry standard process for data mining, CRISP-DM techniques was used. Performance the activities as described by Chapman, which are understand of the business, understand of the data, data preparation, data modeling, evaluation of data, and deployment. Repeating the process as many times as necessary until the mined data are satisfactory. The goal of this step was to determine which data set is the most appropriate to solve the problem, and how this data should be standardized and balanced to avoid bias in the learning process. And for this problem, we tend to predict if active debt should be processed electronically or not. After this elaboration, all independent variables were normalized to balance two values that were different or very heterogeneous scales. For this process, the method of obtained the y of x was used to be used as data entry in the test models of volume bias. In the next step, the selection process was applied. Use the vertical selection technique, selecting on the records whose process criterion was equal to active, ignoring to cancel it and settle, because there is the point in calculation the dependent variables of process that the not are not in process. Following the same logic, the tuples that had the variables with no values were not also extracted, result in 6,966 tuples available for learning. The test of the models were performed with varying hyperparameters to identify which configuration was the most applied to the data treated, emphasizing that the classification techniques applied of the data were neural network, logistic regression, and support vector machine, and all training was performed. During the training of the select models, the evaluation stage of performance. In this step, it was possible to observe how the results obtained with the techniques met the specified problem. In this study, the evaluation was performed through techniques that seek to influence better decision-making, through training for classification through metrics, such as accuracy, precision, recall, F-measure, and area under the received characteristic operation, or ROC curve. The results obtained this evaluation phase are present below. Present the results of the application of the techniques with the evaluation by the metrics accuracy, F-measure, precision, and recall. Thus, after the application of the techniques, it was observed at the neural network that obtained the highest rate. Accuracy was 98%, with F-measure with 97%, precision with 97%, and recall 98%. The table shows the regularization hyperparameters represented by column R and strengthened by column S, used by logistic regression model with the application of the metrics accuracy, F-measure, precision, recall, with the best results in bold. Accuracy 98%, F-measure 97%, precision 97%, recall 98%. The table shows the cost hyperparameters represented by column C and regression by column A used to support vector machine model with the application of accuracy, F-measure, precision, and recall metrics, with the best bold results. Accuracy 97%, F-measure 97%, same precision 97%, recall to 97%. The table presents the results of the metrics applied to compare performance between three classification techniques used: the neural network, logistic regression, and support vector machine, with the configuration of 4 layers with 256 neurons in each layer, using the ReLU activation function with the add-on technique and learning rate of 0.0001. The neural network proved to be the best model among the 3 tests, as can be observed in the following table, with the best result in bold. Accuracy, neural network 98%, F1 97%, precision 97%, recall 98%, are the best values result. In compare logistic regression, support vector machine. The dataset used in this experiment had 6,966 records, with the variable course being the target, with 5 categorical variables, 7 numerical, and 3 textual variables. Being used for this experiment 6 variables for extraction of characteristics: the independent variables, situation, balance, events, subscription day, irregularity, and providence. Target the variables of course and the target variables only for identification, not Republic Office. For the set, only the pay occurrence was discarded because there were the enough instances to balance the train. Since the dataset including all the data from the years 2018, 2019, and 2020. Being used the training and evaluation a subset corresponding to 80% of the data, resulting in 5,571 records, with the remaining 1,392 for validation. To perform the test, the cross-validation technique was used with the number of folds equal to 3 in a stratified way. Thus, observing the ROC curve of these 3 techniques compared, it is possible to notice that the neural network model had the most representative area, as can be seen in figure. Conclusion. This article sought to analyze the best model of artificial intelligence and machine learning that can be used to recommend active depth register that should be processed or directed to another type of collection, optimizing the depth collection process due to the agent of assertiveness using a database of depths from the state of Pernambuco. With the results, it was possible to verify that the classification methods used achieved good accuracy results, being above 97%. Thus, it is possible to infer that the proposed model can be considered dependable since all search metrics achieve a satisfactory result. The method used to select characteristics allow better attributes to be used in the learning process, and this, consequently, can produce more assembly results. Thus, the State Attorney General may reduce or even eliminate the number of active depth registers that are returned by the notary offices, allowing them to do not switch this form of collection, can be directed in advance to the most appropriate method of collection to their characteristics. Feature works. As feature work, training will be carried out with the complementarities of the data, which are since 28, the year of implementation of the justice system. Since for this experiment was used a sample corresponding to the years 2018, 2019, and 2020. With the use of the complete database, it will be possible to apply the model to the active depth registers that are indicated as not suitable for protest, can be directed to other depth collection modalities. Being possible from the return of fail to indicate that would be the other modality of judicial collection, Considering the relic for setting to electronic filing, it can be represented by logical. This is references. Thank you.